Take a deep breath and come back to your body. Your body is your dwelling place on this planet. How it feels to be in your body is going to decide how it feels to be you. How it feels to be you is going to direct all your decisions. So this relationship between the spiritual being that's perceiving and the physical being that's being perceived is at the core of the embodied human experience. So bring all your attention back to this place. Through breathing, the spirit is communicating with the body. And as you become more aware of how it feels to be you in this moment, you're returning home. Home is the place where you dwell. Everything you're thinking about from a place that is felt. And that feeling is coloring your thinking, it's affecting your thinking. It's making all the decisions different than they would be under different sensations, different feelings inside the body. And so our conclusions are never objective. The mind is always influenced by what's happening inside the organism. And so the door to understanding consciousness is understanding the relationship between consciousness and matter, called biology. Not biology only in the scientific sense, but also biology in the spiritual sense. In the sense that I'm changing you right now, even though to science nothing is visible. Something inside the organism, something inside the arrangement of the molecules is changing when a human speaks. The human speech is interacting with those molecules and affecting them. This is the work of the Ruach, work of the Spirit, work that relates to the air that we breathe. The air that we breathe resides within our entire organism, and specifically within our blood. And that blood travels and becomes conscious. And that consciousness can change based on the settings of the air. That's what we're playing with right now. The settings of the air you're breathing. How's it going to feel when those molecules become conscious? And so even this spiritual function is still relating to matter. Matter that cannot be measured by science yet. But it's there because without it, I cannot speak. Without it, my speech would make no difference. So return to realizing your relationship with your own biology, physical and spiritual. You're always changing your biology, every thought, every vibration, emotions, even more, a biological storm. And so to be aware of this process, this is the nature of human consciousness. Everything else is a distraction, a costly distraction. Because when biology happens on its own, it happens the same way it happens in the animal kingdom. The difference is humans, the intelligence within humans, can get involved in this process. And that's when the human becomes human. Otherwise, everything is simply pre-programmed. That's the same as all the other structures of nature, where the angels and the demons are running their routine regardless of what's happening and who it's happening to. The human advantage is that we can differentiate between who it's happening to and what we care about and what's important. And we can direct energy where energy is the most critical or where it would bring the most benefit. And so we have an advantage that has unlimited benefits if we put that advantage to the right use. If we use that advantage to compete with each other, then not only is it not an advantage, it becomes a curse. So when we come back, we're coming back to the root of what's driving our experience. And we are running this. We've learned how to run it very early in life. And then, in many ways we might say, it runs us. But that's not the intention, that wasn't the design. That happens due to the consistent distractions society provides in order to keep us constantly occupied externally. And therefore we can no longer remember our internal settings. No longer remember what it used to feel like to be us. We've been too busy doing things and being things and becoming things that we no longer know what it feels like just to be. The base of everything that comes forth. So we return and we realize. We return and we remember. We return and we forget some of the illusions. If every day we can forget a little percentage of the illusions, eventually we're not going to have any. The illusions are the things we ourselves created through biology and then started believing in them as if they have their own force, as if they are a power of their own. A concept took control of a being. All this happens within biology. Returning is remembering. Remembering is allowing the source of everything that happened to you and in you to unite with itself. It's very powerful. The being inside of you that's trying to discover itself is very powerful. It knows unconsciously, but consciously it might have been programmed to think that it's powerless. And the thing about humans, when they believe, they don't consider the alternative any longer. When they believe, it becomes the reality within which they search for solutions, but they don't look outside of it. Belief limits the human mind. The right beliefs are about knowing how to formulate an understanding of reality that doesn't require beliefs. Everything is realized as a process, and all the results of the process are evident. The human experience is a process. Life gives us what we ask for, but not in the way that we think. To learn that language is to learn your own language, is to learn biology, not the biology they teach in schools, the biology that hearts can teach themselves through the brain. Because the hearts and the brains know all the information already. They're doing it every single day, all day. They wish you would listen more. They wish you would care. They wish you would know how important it is. And so when we tune in, they have a lot to tell us. There are so many things that happen to us all the time that are so meaningful, and we just get annoyed and we want to move on. And yet, inside of us, something is playing out. There's a reason for every hang-up. Nothing is anybody else's fault, even though there are players, there are messengers, there are different roles that people play in your life, but all of them are orchestrated by the divine intelligence, the same one that is answering the questions you ask yourself inside your own mind. It's the same intelligence that runs everything that becomes. And so, within us are all the answers. Because what are the questions? We are the questions, and therefore we are the answers. Where there is no human, there is no question. The human formulated the question, meaning he formulated the biological pose. He is the reason for that question. His understanding, his lack of understanding, his exposure, his experience with reality resulted in a question. A question saying, my biology disagrees with what's playing out in the circumstances, and yet the circumstances are what they are. Our biology is infinite in the possibilities. And so what we need to find is the settings that work for the circumstances that we're in. If the soul is available to itself, if the spirit can draw as it pleases, then it wants to draw something that is completely suitable to the circumstances. If she draws things that are not suitable to the circumstances because her reality does not allow, her beliefs have been formulated in a way that she cannot comply with this reality, she cannot relate to this reality, then there becomes a conflict. And that conflict again is within the biology, within the being, within the relationship between concept and matter. So we know the answers, we are the answers, but we are not conscious of the answers. The part of us that knows the answers is the innate intelligence. The part of us that we have access to when we speak is the conscious awareness. And these two have been disconnected by civilization. When we wanted to force humans to be a certain way, that meant that we were going to take the conscious mind on a trip away from the innate intelligence. That's the intrinsic value of trying to force our species to become something that it's not. And we are all the result of that. We all have the conscious awareness disconnected from the innate intelligence. And so the innate intelligence feeds us and gives us access to brain power, to energy, to sunshine in the form of the products that we eat, the products that we consume as they get transformed into energy. And we use that power that we receive from the innate intelligence. We, the conscious mind, uses that sometimes to go to war with the innate intelligence. Humanity as a whole has used the power created by the innate intelligence within humans in order to go to war with humanity and with nature that creates it and sustains it. This is our spiritual pose if we're trying to understand why there are so many difficulties within the human population. It's not because the design is faulty, it's because there were people with vicious intent that had tremendous power. And the masses were not intelligent enough to realize what's being taken from them. So in order to reconnect these two that are essentially one, we need to awaken spiritually. Awakening spiritually means that the conscious mind goes looking for the innate intelligence in order to surrender to it, in order to undo the harm that was done by taking control of a being that we don't understand. Taking control means creating the rules, creating norms, creating ideals of what we think should be, and not consulting the nature and the purpose and the design of the tool that we're going to use to get there, which is the human spirit. And so the mind separated from reality. The mind pretended that it has an existence of its own. And in reality, the mind is just an extension, is just a function, one of the many functions of the innate intelligence. And so, when the conscious mind surrenders to the innate intelligence, they become one. And then the one who's conscious is no longer at war with anything or anyone. And that's the awakening. The awakening is from the illusion that there could be anyone else inside of you, that there could be anything that doesn't belong, that there could be anything in the universe that doesn't belong, that there could be any other. All this is an illusion that continues as a self-fulfilling prophecy as long as humanity believes it. Because as long as we believe it, we act it out. And when we act it out, we prove that there is other, that there is danger, that there is harm. And so this becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Should we be afraid of humans? If we believe we should, then we're in a stance where humans really will be scary. If we believe humans are friendly, then we create human-friendly humans and there's nothing to be afraid of. And so all these are self-fulfilling prophecies. They're not one way or the other. Belief will decide. So if we learn to listen to what's inside of us, we learn the language of nature. We are the language of nature. Everything we do, everything we say is the language of nature, and yet there's something artificial inside of us. And that's false information. That's not nature. That's a violation of nature. And that violation becomes biological. Information, concept becomes biological. That's the nature of a human. A human converts concept into biology based on the specific way that being uses language, based on the specific consciousness that's translating the words. The biology gets created, and that becomes reality. Biology is reality. Biology is as real as it gets. Everything that we do, everything that we're trying to do, relates back to biology. It's where the spiritual becomes physical and where the physical becomes spiritual. It's the doorway between the worlds. It's a transformer. It transforms matter into spirit and spirit into matter. And so that space is where we want to invest more of our awareness. We want to become more familiar with every nuance, with every little sensation, with every detail. Not by analyzing it with the mind, not by intellectualizing the information, but simply by sitting with it, by being present and not being concerned with anything else, by giving importance where importance is due, by recognizing those who have been serving you since before birth. All the beings, the energies, the processes that are running you constantly never failed. Not only never failed in you, never failed in any of your ancestors until they made the one who delivered you. There's a straight line of life going back from you to the beginning of life that was never broken. That's how powerful the entity that runs you is. It runs for thousands of years. It gives itself over from generation to generation, and it's still here, just as powerful as ever. Very confused. The information is horrible, but the being is present, ready to go to work, ready to gain a new understanding within reality that will make everything that happened till here all right. Unite all of yourself to this place, to this truth, to this realization. Move in to the subtle aspects of your being, because as you get closer to them, as you become them, as you realize them in you, they will become much less subtle. In fact, the things that concern most people become very subtle and almost meaningless. And the truth becomes very prominent and powerful until not only is the subtle more meaningful, but also all the activities that were there till then, the gross activities, the activities maybe we try to avoid, the activities we didn't appreciate, become filled with meaning. Because everything is filled with meaning. Everything is filled with purpose. Otherwise it would not exist. So return to that source. Return to that place of transformation, to that point where heaven and earth meet, where the spiritual, the world of perception, meets the world of matter, the physical. And that meeting is the world that can be felt. The world that can be felt is felt by the spiritual, and it's reporting from the physical. And so come back to feeling yourself, so that the heavens are watching over the earth, so that the heavens are protecting the earth, so that the awareness of the forces that create are directed and focused to improve reality,